We begin CBS2 News at 5 with breaking news. First Lady Melania Trump is in the hospital after a kidney surgery.
President Trump is with her right now, we're told, at Walter Reed Medical Center.
And CBS2 political reporter Dave Bryan is live in the newsroom with more information.
Pat and Jeff, we're told the First Lady's surgery was supposed to treat a benign kidney condition. But what we don't know is if this was an emergency or a planned surgery. The First Lady's office does say it was successful and there were no complications. President Trump left the White House Monday to visit his wife, First Lady Melania Trump, at Walter Reed National Military Medical Center. Earlier, the White House revealed Mrs. Trump underwent surgery to treat a benign kidney condition. The president later tweeted in part, "She is in good spirits. Thank you to all of the well-wishers."
When you do this procedure, it involves cutting off the arterial blood supply to something. It's called an embolism, an arterial embolism.
The nature of Mrs. Trump's benign growth was not disclosed. There are several kinds of those growths, and most are not life-threatening.
The symptoms of that could be blood in the urine. It could be pain if there was some bleeding into whatever the growth was.
We tell patients to expect to be tired for about a week or 10 days. They may have some low-grade fevers, which is just your body's inflammatory response reacting to us blocking off the vessels within the mass.
Late this afternoon, the First Lady's office issued a statement saying she underwent an embolization procedure to treat a benign kidney condition. The procedure was successful and there were no complications. Mrs. Trump's profile has risen in the past several months, from planning the first official state dinner to greeting 3 American hostages at Joint Base Andrews. But last week, she launched her Be Best initiative to tackle opioid abuse and negative behavior on social media.
I believe we should strive to provide kids with the tools they need to cultivate their social and emotional health.
The White House says the First Lady will remain at Walter Reed for the rest of the week and looks forward to a full recovery. Now, CNN is reporting a First Lady hasn't undergone such a serious medical procedure while in the White House since Nancy Reagan had a mastectomy, and that was back in 1987. Back to you.
Dave, thank you so much. Now to a bloody start of what was supposed to be a celebration of the new U.S. Embassy in Jerusalem. More than 50 Palestinians have died in mass protests there. A violent reaction to the U.S. officially recognizing Jerusalem as Israel's capital.
Now that's because Palestinians also want Jerusalem as their future capital. Jared Kushner, who is in charge of developing a Mideast peace plan, defended the controversial move during this morning's ceremony.
While presidents before him have backed down from their pledge to move the American embassy once in office, this president delivered. Because when President Trump makes a promise, he keeps it.
Well, the White House blames the Palestinian militant group Hamas for the deaths in Gaza.
The Trump administration says it supports Israel's right to defend itself.
And a large protest was held here in the Southland.
Yes, the Palestinian community and their supporters say the embassy move will not bring peace to the Middle East.
CBS 2's Randy Page is right now live in Brentwood, where protesters gathered earlier today.
They've been here for quite a while, actually, since 1:30 this afternoon. A lot of them are still here. They're just beginning to wrap things up, but they're here to make it clear that their message is a U.S. embassy in Jerusalem will be a roadblock to peace. They raised their voices today with the singular message that the opening of the U.S. Embassy in Jerusalem will land a crushing blow on peace in the Middle East. Omar Zaza is with the Palestinian Youth Movement.
This is not about peace. This is about land grabs, land seizure, the ongoing occupation and brutalization of a subjected indigenous people.
Their violence is shameful and cowardly.
Also supporting Palestinians here today, Esty Chandler, representing Jewish Voice for Peace. She says most of the members of her family live in Israel, and she says she represents a silent majority in the Southern California Jewish community.
I want a future for my family there. I want my cousins, their children, their grandchildren to have a bright future, and I just cannot see that for them under current Israeli and U.S. policy.
But perhaps one of the most influential Jewish leaders in Southern California, Rabbi Marvin Heyer from the Simon Wiesenthal Center, was in Jerusalem today for the announcement, and he sent this video reaction to today's historic event.
This is a moment in history that will never be forgotten, that since the creation of the State of Israel, that this is the time that America finally said that Jerusalem is the capital of Israel. And it's the capital of Israel not for now, not for tomorrow, but for eternity.
And we're back live in Brentwood. You can see police officers have been keeping an eye on the Israeli consulate inside the building, but this all day long has been a peaceful protest. Pat, back to you.
All right, thanks for that, Randy. Now, the family of former Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid says he has had surgery to remove a tumor from his pancreas. The 78-year-old underwent surgery today at Johns Hopkins Hospital in Baltimore. His family says doctors caught the tumor early during a routine screening, and his prognosis for a recovery is good. The Nevada Democrat left the Senate at the end of 2016 after serving 30 years in the chamber.
Now, a showdown between two men on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, and it sparked a bloody stabbing.
And those who live and work there say the man who was arrested is part of a bigger problem.
Now, police say the suspect is homeless.
And business owners warn their numbers are growing.
And they do want something done so it doesn't happen again.
And CBS2's Dave Lopez is right there with more. Dave?
Pat, it happened right here. The scene was a bloody mess. It was that way for hours. And as you mentioned, people here who own businesses are very upset. They're fed up, in fact, with the situation that say he has gotten out of control. The suspect, an alleged homeless man, is in custody. The man that he stabbed, allegedly stabbed, is recovering. And you're also going to see an incident that happened 3 weeks ago right off Hollywood Boulevard, in which a man is kicked in the head. We will tell you up front that that man also is recovered. But all of this is happening on Hollywood Boulevard. And as I said, the business owners have had it. The man in this security video, wearing the dark sweatshirt and the hood, has just been stabbed. The store owner is trying to apply a tourniquet to stop the bleeding. A few minutes later, the man who was inside that store ran off and collapsed. It all happened Saturday morning at 10 o'clock along the 6600 block of Hollywood Boulevard. According to the police, the man who was stabbed told them that he was standing right about where I am trying to sell tour tickets when a man in a wheelchair, described as a homeless man, was smoking pot. The man said, "Can you please leave a few feet?" And when he wouldn't leave, there was an argument. That's when, according to the report, the man in the wheelchair stood up and started stabbing him repeatedly, and then left his wheelchair behind and ran 2 blocks down Wilcox, where police caught him.
The fact I have to carry my own blade on Hollywood Boulevard, I mean, just to protect myself.
Jason Rubishi owns a pizza shop right where the stabbing occurred. He said the reason for all of this trouble?
Most of the homeless have moved in, and they've been sleeping across the street, sleeping in any open, vacant doorway they can find.
And they were in plain sight today.
I find myself having to put my hand on my knife every time a homeless guy walks behind me.
It's just constant panhandling. They're very aggressive.
Philip Garrigo told me he's lived along Hollywood Boulevard for 60 years. He said the homeless are starting to overwhelm the place. So this stabbing didn't surprise you?
No, not at all.
This is from my friend working across the street, being attacked.
Another business owner, Frank Aida, showed us video of a parking lot attendant around the corner from where he works off Hollywood Boulevard getting attacked by 3 men, kicked in the head.
We always see something's going on. The cops come here once, twice a week.
But it's the homeless, they insist, that's the issue.
Property owners, the police, and the city need to get together and make a rule to say no more homeless on Hollywood Boulevard.
Again, the man who was viciously kicked has made a recovery. I am told that there is 1 arrest and possibly more to come. As for why this is happening, we got a hold of the LAPD. They responded just within the hour, and they told us that, yes, indeed, the homeless arrests in this area are up. They couldn't tell me by how much or why. Back to the studio.
All right, thank you, Dave. Now, Bay Area parents are under arrest after their 10 children were found living in unsafe conditions. 29-year-old Jonathan Allen faces 9 counts of torture and 6 counts of child abuse. 30-year-old Ina Rogers, the children's mother, faces child neglect charges. Police had responded to reports of a missing 12-year-old, and when they found that missing child, they returned to the kids' home and found 9 other children living in squalor. The kids range in age from 4 months to 12 years old. Police also say the children had puncture wounds, burns, and bruises. All 10 kids have been taken into protective custody.
Margot Kidder, the Canadian actress best known for her role as Lois Lane in the 1978 Superman movie, has died.
Well, let's start with your vital statistics. Are you married?
No, I'm not.
Well, Kidder didn't just play Lois Lane. She also starred in the Amityville Horror and Black Christmas. Kidder also had a very public battle with bipolar disorder in the 90s, even ending up homeless at one point. Later, she worked to destigmatize mental health problems.
She continued acting, taking roles in film, TV, and on Broadway this year. Kidder reportedly passed away at her home in Montana, but no cause of death has been released. Many celebrities taking to Twitter today to express their condolences. Star Wars actor Mark Hamill wrote, "On screen, she was magic. Off screen, she was one of the kindest, sweetest, most caring women I've ever known. I will miss you, Margot Kidder. Your legacy will live on forever." And Brady Bunch star Maureen McCormick tweeted this out today. "Rest in peace, dear Margot Kidder. I was such a fan of yours from the moment I saw you on the screen as Lois Lane in Superman. I will treasure the moment that I met you forever. Sweet dreams, Margot." Deadly convenience, the rising number of people poisoned because of keyless cars. Just what's the problem? Also, sudden school closure. A Beverly Hills campus is shut down with only a day's notice, leaving parents and students scrambling. And royal wedding drama. 5 days before the big day, there are reports Meghan Markle's dad will not be attending the wedding.
Hey everybody, I'm Garth Kemp. I'm back after 3 days of pecan pie in Texas. I feel it. And Marine Layer's back too. We'll tell you about it coming up.